mentioned. Some of you don't need me to introduce our speaker today, because she is a member of our parish community, but Sigrid Kuehnemund is here today. She's Vice President Ocean, is it Ocean Conservation?
Yes.
Vice President Ocean Conservation with World Wildlife Fund Canada. And so I know I got my young Sammy here today because she wants to be a scientist when she grows up so she can clean up the ocean. So she wanted to come out and hear what Sigrid had to say today about the ocean. So now she's mad at me because I pointed her out. Anyway, I turn it over to Sigrid, and this is really about why I'm such a nag on the plastics.
All right. Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. For those of you who don't know me, I am Sigrid Kuehnemund, Vice President of WWF Canada's Ocean Conservation Program, and I'm very grateful to be here, and I'm grateful that you are all here to talk about marine plastic pollution and the threats to our ocean. And I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the territory in which we gather is the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, and the island of Newfoundland is the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and the Beothuk. And for the work that I do, we take learning from many indigenous cultures, and what resonates most with me is the indigenous belief that we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we borrow it from our children. So my inspiration is my children. It's my children that inspire me. I have 3 kids, and I want to ensure that I can do everything that I can to leave this earth in a better condition than before I arrived. And it's alarming to think that by the time my kids are around my age, by about 2050, that there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean if we do not change our ways. Sorry. This week, government scientists, they've produced a new report on climate change in Canada that is beyond grim, and it should invoke naked fear in all of us. Canada is warming at twice the rate of the rest of the world. And in the Arctic, in our province of Labrador, we are warming at 3 times the rate of the rest of the world. There's no doubt in the facts. We're facing a climate crisis. It's irreversible unless Canada and the rest of the world can reduce carbon emissions to near zero by 2040. We have 11 years to turn it around, and we're now seeing more frequent and more severe weather events. We're seeing hotter extreme heat and less extreme cold. And what does that mean for us here in Newfoundland? Before I really understood climate change, I would joke and say, well, St. John's could use a good warming up, or it's fine for me because I live on a hill. But what it means is that our permafrost is melting, there's less ice and snow, there are wildfires, there is flooding, and in the future we will see increases in sea level rise as our glaciers continue to melt. In our lifetime, we will see freshwater shortages in Canada. Can you think of where we live in Newfoundland and our abundance of water? But in our lifetime, there will be freshwater shortages in Canada due to climate change. Our Indigenous brothers and sisters up north, they are now facing a loss of their identity, a way of life, and the resources that they depend upon to live. So a little bit now about WWF. Who are we? We are science-based and we're solutions-oriented. We're an environmental organization that works with governments, businesses, communities to achieve lasting change. Our mission is to reverse the decline of wildlife by working toward all freshwater ecosystems and the wildlife that depend on them in good condition. We want to see healthy oceans on all 3 coasts, a vibrant and ecologically sound future for the Arctic, and resilient communities across Canada that enhance nature. Now what WWF Canada is not, we are not the World Wrestling Federation. So I don't wear a cape. Sometimes I feel like I can be a bit of a superhero, and the people I work with are superheroes when we see good successes in conservation. But in doing that, we are not an animal rights group. We are not against hunting and fishing, and we are not an anti-sealing group. So what WWF Canada does, we produce a Living Planet report every 2 years, and this is the way that we observe the changes on the global state of wildlife. And in 2017, we produced a Living Planet report for Canada. It looked at about 900 populations of Canadian wild species, and to determine if they've increased or decreased since 1970. It's a little bit like, the Living Planet Report Index is like a stock market index. And so what have we discovered from that report in 2017? We've